Out there.
In this week's episode 4 of the science fiction thriller series From, viewers are treated to a significant twist as Tabitha Matthews, the only character to have managed an escape from Fromville, appears poised to return to the enigmatic town. Her reunion with her family intertwines with the long-awaited meeting between Victor and his father Henry after years apart. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. In this episode, new survivors are introduced to the group navigating the challenges of the town. This episode delves into these developments, while Victor takes a moment to reminisce about his childhood with Sarah.
Down! You need to fucking calm down! They're gonna die! They're gonna fucking die!
Is Tabitha Back? Season 3, Episode 3 concluded with Tabitha and Henry suffering a terrifying car crash, leading to their treatment in an ambulance as they were hurried to the hospital. However, the ambulance unexpectedly found itself on an isolated road, obstructed by a fallen tree that blocked their way. The 4th episode picks up right at this location, where the driver and paramedics are puzzled by the tree's sudden appearance. Yet, Tabitha is fully aware of what's happening. Having faced a similar situation before, she steps out of the vehicle for a closer inspection and notices a flock of crows perched on the branches of nearby trees, seemingly watching them with a mix of curiosity and amusement. This eerie scene mirrors the experience Tabitha and her family had when they first arrived in Fromville, making her realize that the ambulance has somehow crossed into the enigmatic realm of Fromville, a place where monsters emerge after nightfall. In a situation all too familiar to those who had faced this bizarre series of events, the ambulance driver chose to navigate around the fallen tree, inadvertently wasting precious moments as dusk approached. As darkness enveloped the landscape, Tabitha caught sight of a barn in the nearby town of Fromville and urgently urged the nurses and drivers to pull over. Despite her awareness of the town's terrifying reputation, she understood that the real danger lay in the lurking monsters that roamed freely after sunset, ready to strike at any moment. Stopping in the town seemed like their best chance for safety and survival, yet Officer Acosta, seated in the ambulance, dismissed her pleas. Convinced that Tabitha was merely fabricating a story to escape, she insisted the driver continue. It was then that the driver made a chilling discovery: a woman's lifeless body sprawled on the road. Tabitha's worries may have seemed trivial to Acosta and the others, but a lifeless body on the road was undeniably serious, prompting them to halt the ambulance and investigate. The driver and a male nurse exited the vehicle to assess the situation, while Acosta secured Tabitha's hands to a rail with handcuffs to prevent her from escaping. Meanwhile, Henry remained unconscious from the accident, completely unaware of the unfolding events. To their shock, the woman they believed to be dead was not human at all, but a monster that had cleverly set a trap to lure the ambulance in for more victims. As the nurses approached the seemingly lifeless figure, the creature revealed its true form and swiftly dispatched them. Hearing the chaos, Acosta rushed out of the van, attempted to shoot the monsters, and soon realized that bullets were ineffective, forcing her to retreat towards Colony House. As the ambulance rolled into Fromville, Ethan and Jim caught sight of it from their home, along with Boyd, who was riding on Randall's bus at that moment. The distant sound of gunfire erupted, fired by the frantic Acosta, prompting Jim and Boyd to dash toward the chaos, leaving Ethan and Julie behind in the house. When Jim finally opened the ambulance door, he was overwhelmed with emotion as he reunited with his wife, Tabitha, whom he had feared lost during her journey to the lighthouse. Although the moment was bittersweet without their children present, Jim quickly freed her hands from the cuffs before Boyd drove them to Colony House. They were assigned a room on the upper floor, while Henry, still unwell, was given a separate space. The Matthews couple was joyfully reunited, yet their children remained missing, weighing heavily on Ethan's heart as he still feared for his mother's safety. At the start of Season 3, Episode 4, Ethan answered the phone at their home when it rang again, only to be taken aback by the voice of a young boy introducing himself as Thomas, his deceased older brother. Ethan didn't recognize the name, having known little to nothing about the brother he had lost. The voice warned him that their mother was in serious danger, trapped in an ambulance on the road, and urged him to go save her. Ethan's worry for Tabitha intensified, especially after witnessing the ambulance arrive in town, but he was unfortunately instructed to remain at home, safeguarded by the talisman. Another death in Colony House, Fatima's desire. The events of that night take a darker turn for the residents of Colony House when they suddenly hear gunfire outside. Officer Acosta, in a reckless attempt to eliminate the monsters, fires her weapon, leading to chaos. Nicky, one of the residents, approaches the window to investigate and tragically becomes a victim of Acosta's stray bullet. Despite the presence of Mari, the pediatric nurse who often fills in as the town's doctor when Christy is absent, she is unable to save Nicky, who succumbs to her injuries. This shocking loss deeply affects the members of Colony House, especially Donna, who crumbles emotionally when she finds herself alone with Sheriff Boyd. Boyd too struggles with his emotions, directing his anger at Acosta for her role in the accidental shooting of an innocent person. Meanwhile, Acosta is left reeling from the horror of the monsters and the weight of having taken a life. As Nicky's body is laid to rest in a room on the upper floor, Fatima expresses her desire to say goodbye to Nicky in solitude. This decision leaves her alone with the corpse, a troubling scenario given her recent disturbing behavior of consuming grotesque and inedible substances. In a chilling moment, she probes the gunshot wound on Nicky's body and savors the blood that stains her fingers. It becomes increasingly evident that Fatima harbors a monstrous presence within her as she continues to lick the blood from the deceased. The prospect of her potentially resorting to cannibalism in the next episode raises questions about how the others will respond to her unsettling actions.
Jasper belonged to Christopher.
What's inside Victor's memory? Victor visits Sarah Meyer's home with an unusual request. He wishes to share stories from his childhood, which involves constructing a fort using clothes and other items. As they embark on this nostalgic project, reminiscent of the imaginative play of children, Victor reveals to Sarah that he often played in this very house with his older sister when they first arrived in Fromville. He confides that there's a deeper reason for involving her in this activity. Victor is attempting to confront specific memories from his past that have haunted him since he was a boy, memories he has long buried due to fear and trauma. To face these recollections, he seeks the company of the one person who intimidates him the most, Sarah Myers. Sarah, however, is not offended by this somewhat belittling remark. She understands that Victor possesses the spirit and mindset of a child trapped in an adult's body, and thus, she willingly assists him. He reminisces about the fateful night when his mother left to rescue the children in the tower during the monster attack. While his sister bravely ventured out, a terrified Victor remained hidden in the closet until dawn, only to discover the town in ruins. The only figure he encountered was the boy in white, who urged him to gather mementos from the deceased to honor the lives that once thrived in Fromville. As Victor sifts through the items he had tucked away in a suitcase, memories of key figures from the town begin to resurface. Individuals whose stories could unravel the town's mystery. One notable character was Christopher, a ventriloquist who was rarely seen without his doll, Jasper. Initially, Christopher was warm and entertaining, often lifting Victor's spirits during dark times. However, over time, his demeanor shifted. Victor even caught glimpses of Christopher conversing with Jasper, who seemed to respond in kind. This peculiar interaction now leads Victor to suspect a connection to the monstrous attack that devastated the town. He believes that locating Jasper could be crucial in piecing together the enigma surrounding Fromville, though the search for the doll may prove challenging as the season unfolds. Interestingly, Jasper bears a slight resemblance to the smiley creature monster, which was vanquished back in Season 2. Yet, there's a lingering thought that Jasper might still be out there, having seemingly come to life shortly after arriving in Fromville, potentially positioning him as the central antagonist in this unfolding tale. What happened to Randall? In Season 3, Episode 4, Randall endures a harrowing ordeal, suggesting that this fiery character may be nearing his demise. Previously in Season 2, his obnoxious and self-centered behavior led to his expulsion from Colony House, leaving him to reside in a bus parked on the main street. In the last episode, Boyd visited Randall in the bus, intending to spend the night there while keeping an eye on the monsters after dark. Despite Boyd's offer to let him sleep in the sheriff's office, Randall declined, expressing his desire to assist Boyd with any plan that could lead him back to the real world. As the ambulance rolls into Fromville, Acosta opens fire on the attacking creatures, prompting Boyd and Randall to rush over to assess the situation. At that moment, a swarm of cicadas, or something akin to them, descends upon Randall, who has been plagued by these insects for some time. It's uncertain whether Randall has been hallucinating, or if the insects are genuinely attacking him, as no one else seems to notice them. Seizing the opportunity, the monsters capture Randall, leaving Boyd to confront a harrowing choice. They present the sheriff with the ambulance keys, but demand to keep Randall, threatening his life. Ultimately, Boyd's decision is influenced by the fact that Jim and Tabitha have deeper roots in the community and children who rely on them, leading him to sacrifice Randall for their safety. In the gripping conclusion of Season 3, Episode 4, the monsters maneuver the ambulance in front of Colony House, with Randall bound to its windshield. They position him so that Boyd and Donna can see him clearly from inside, serving as a haunting reminder of his sacrifice. Remarkably, Randall remains alive, despite a significant portion of his face being torn away, suggesting a grim fate awaits him in Episode 5, as Boyd is left to witness yet another resident's demise due to his choices. So this was for today's folks. See you in our next video. Till then, bye-bye and take care.
His name was Jasper.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.